Hello, everyone. This is the built-in public session number 6. And today we're going to deploy the AES, that's the Ethereum Attestation Service, on Arthera testnet. And I need to share that link. I have no idea. Just a second. And so before we go into this EAS deployment, like here we have David, we have Bertrand, and we also have Flavius, CTO of Arthera. And Flavius, you had some questions about the ERC20 token.
No. So I'm going to give a little bit of context. We're building right now a subscription management platform for dApps, something similar to ChargeBee or Recurly, if you're familiar with them. In order to make automated subscriptions happen, let's say, or work. And while I was looking around on ways to implement this, I realized one thing, that in order to do automatic subscription management, we need to somehow be able to debit a user's account without his approval, like in the same way as you do with credit cards. Once you put your credit card on Netflix, for example, then you'll be charged on a monthly basis by Netflix without your approval. And this is something which is not, let's say, not possible right now in any blockchain, because in order to make a transfer but only for native coins, for ERC tokens, you have an approval mechanism. Okay, in order to allow somebody else to debit your tokens, but for native coins, there's no such thing. And in order to, let's say, automate these subscription payments, there are two ways to go about it. Either we implement something like this, like this approval mechanism for native coins, which will be similar to the one in ERC tokens. Okay. Or we go with the option to have a, let's say, a kind of custodial wallets that we can keep in the subscription management platform, and we have we have control over them, and we can debit them. But and actually, this is open for discussion, which I'm not sure at this point which is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, and I will see a third possibility could be to discuss with Sablier, with Sablier V2, and consider, see if we could work with Sablier to have a Sablier as a subscription. If it's a periodic subscription, like a monthly subscription, like for example a Netflix monthly subscription, we could have something in partnership with Sablier to have a subscription managed with Sablier, and see. But this way, I think it will still be in the ERC20 token. So wrapping the native token into a ERC20 compatible token.
No, if we use ERC tokens, then it's doable. I mean, we have the approval mechanism embedded in the ERC20, let's say, protocol that allows this. But do we want for users to pay the subscription to a blockchain in other tokens?
Okay, that's
I mean,
integration
that's
issue.
a fair question. But I mean, permissions on native coins are generally speaking something best avoided.
I know, but I
In
was
order
just
to make sure that everything is stable and solid.
I was just wondering if if it can be done today using your credit card, which is where you have your funds basically. Why not do it on the native coin
Yes,
as well?
absolutely. And that's why I mean it's a really good question. Like you have these two options between, like, you basically would obviously somehow take the money from an EOA. So that's the, say, the non-custodial or the custodial approach.
Like Monolith has done. Monolith has done this with a gas. You have like a gas tank. In the narrative, it was a gas tank. So you top up the gas tank to be able to pay the gas for your transaction. And then this gas tank is a custodial part of your non-custodial wallet. And so every time you make a transaction, the gas token are debited from this gas tank. That was in the initial version, but now from what I remember, they removed this gas tank. But could be also a way to manage this is as with a separated gas tank. But if we want to forget about the gas fees, like feel it would be it more about. I would like to see more about the difference with a relayer or with a economy that is used on other blockchain to see how we can be different from this relayer part. But
I think we definitely can check what Monolith have done, because they have this credit card thing, and so it could be worth checking that. But I think maybe the non-custodial kind of approach would make more sense here. Like you have your sort of balance of token on your basic standard EOA account, and you would authorize give a specific contract to handle
To debit your account basically.
yes.
Debit your balance. Yeah.
But of course, if you move the tokens, or if you spend them somewhere else, then the whole system just stop. I mean, you would have to, just like because in a normal, in a credit card thing, when you activate it, if you don't have enough funds on your bank account, then the service is just cut.
Yeah.
So
this is in a debit card, not in a credit card.
Yeah, on a credit card, you go into
the same behavior. Yeah, that's another story. Yeah. Debit card. Okay.
Yeah.
But, debit card, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do overdrafts and stuff.
No, yeah, we won't do that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, contract permissions could be okay, but I think they would need some kind of reasonably centralized element to make sure that not every contract can implement this. For example, a tag addition or a key addition upon contract issuance on chain, because otherwise this will for sure be abused. Someone will figure out how to crack that nut and go to town.
Like what is like the super app in production in Superfluid networks. Apart from Celo for now, because there is no testnet of Celo for Superfluid, all the super apps need to be whitelisted first by the Superfluid team while waiting, or Superfluid DAO, while waiting for a better way to avoid this security problem. So maybe we could do the same with the subscription, like whitelist the contract that that could be authorized to spend the native token. But
Okay, that's one way to go about it. Yeah.
Once an approved audit service issues an audit, we can then issue the key or the additional permission or the whitelisting, or however we want to look at it, whitelisting for that specific permission. Depends on what's the most efficient way to do it, really.
Because Flavius, I had a question, like because right now on the testnet, the way it works is you basically you can already start a subscription, right?
Yes, but you'll have to manually top it up at the end at the expiration date.
Exactly. So this is already available on the through the wallet, I guess.
Yeah. But there is no way at the moment to do this automatically.
Yeah, got it.
On a periodic basis, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's no way to debit a user's account without his specific approval.
Yes. That sounds like a great feature.
But I mean, at the same time, couldn't we also partly mitigate that by just offering several longer-term subscription plans at the same time?
Yeah, like with Sablier vesting of the native token. We need to see if Sablier they want to work with the native token. I guess they work only with the ERC20. Or in the other way around, could we pay the transaction fee with a wrap native token, accepting the ERC20 token for paying the gas fee in the relayer. Like Celo, for example, accept different native token to pay for the transaction fee. So if you use MetaMask, you can only use Celo. But if you use the native Celo wallet, like for example Valorant, or any that is dedicated to Celo, you can pay with Celo, but you can also pay with CUO, with CUSD, with Ciral, and hopefully soon even with a good dollar token.
Yeah, but this adds another layer. So from a usability point of view, the user will need to go and buy a token.
I mean, if it's just the wrap, the ERC20 version of the native token, then it could be managed also with Sablier field, but depending on what the constraint we want to get into and what are the priorities, we will have different solutions based on the priorities.
I guess the Sablier or Superfluid like money stream thing can be a good idea, but we would then, I mean, their contract are probably audited. This is something to check as well.
Yeah.
But to get back to the sort of EOA account authorizing the contract to basically do basically what it wants with the money that it's on your account. There's also there might be also like sort of a notification system attached to it, and that can be kind of tricky.
There is notification, like it was now it's PNS, I think, push notification system or something like this.
That's something
that are partner with Superfluid already.
That's something we could use as well. Yep.
So yeah, if it's, but then the subscription also could be the subscription could be managed by the SAS apps that want their user, they want to subscribe for their user to make it gasless for their user, and then it's less subscription to manage because it's subscription at the level of apps or like of service provider, and not subscription at the level of end user. And then it could be it seems that could, for example, what we have done at Request is that it's a monthly invoice that you send and that has to be paid, for example, in fiat by the service provider. So, and this way you don't need to have all this technical way of how do you approve or do you get paid automatically. It's more like a legal invoice, and then you get paid by the service provider that want to subscribe for their end user. So like B2B, B2C. So it depends to the
I mean,
what we target.
there are a lot of ways to tackle it.
Yeah.
But I mean, we also need some kind of philosophical decision on really if we want to go and mess with your keys, your coins.
Yeah.
Because this is, yes, it's convenience. Yes, it's for providing a better UX. But is that a core principle we want to touch?
And that's when we need Laurent to bring the philosophy part.
Yeah, because
but you know,
is there really a difference between a native coin and a token? They both have value.
Yeah, no, and I must personally, I don't think it's a good idea at all, because it's a golden vector, really. It's one of the most golden potential vectors in the whole space. But I can see where it would work and have massive advantages in terms of onboarding people, creating a smoother user flow. We just want to make sure that we don't go the way consensus went with MetaMask. MetaMask is toxic junk. I mean, it's toxic junk that's beyond debate because of where it's placed in the system. They went way too far over the bridge in favor of good UX.
Yeah.
There is no reason why everything has to be hyper mobile friendly. Some of it could just as well have to run from a PC. There are a lot of people who have that. I know that that's counter to convenience. It's very much counter to convenience, but there is a market for it.
But you know, to kind of get back to our case and make these payments sort of automatic, I think we shouldn't forget that these smart contracts would probably be, you know, part of the system contracts, and so it's super, you know, verifiable, so anyone can check, you know, who can do what, and the contract would do kind of a dumb thing, which is take the money from the EOA account like regularly, and there's nothing else, you know. It's quite readable and quite safe as I see it. So
yeah,
That's what you think. And it's not because it's visible that people look at it.
sure, that's another story, but yeah, I mean,
yeah.
but you know, if we add, that's why I'm kind of I think the push notification service is also a good idea, because it gives some readability to the end user. So and some control, like users would actually receive a notification saying, oh,
It's time to pay the bill.
yes, sort of, or to sort of increase the amount of the authorization.
Yeah.
You know, and there's not you know, other funny actions that you can do. There's only one action that you can do, and everything's verifiable and all. So
I mean, automating it through something like a push notification where the users have a simplified acceptance process, that seems like the best of the options we've tabled so far. The others, one, it doesn't violate the whole your coins, your keys, your coins thing.
absolutely.
Two, it's something we can add to system contracts, as you mentioned. only whitelisted contracts will be able to have that function. That would be, well, maybe whitelisted only for a while until it's proven. It's run for a few years, not a couple of months.
Yeah.
So do it only for the subscription contract, for example.
Yeah. I mean, it's that to me that clearly sounds like the best way of doing it.
Okay, so you say send reminders to renew their subscription and let them do it manually.
Yeah, but it's automated with the approvals, etc., all coming into their wallet, so they've just got to click accept, and that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And maybe if we have the idea of the gas tank, it could be see if we can stream from your own account to your gas tank account with a stream.
Well, that's the same thing. Yeah, it requires manual intervention, so it's the same thing.
Yeah, so this way you can you allow a budget, but it's more about allowing a budget per second or a budget per day or per period. Because if you give an allowance, this allowance could be directly spent in one transaction. If it's kind of a vesting, like saying I want to be able to spend I don't know this amount per month, but I wanted to spend it linearly. This way, you have some kind of transaction, or like how much you can spend per day or per week, and not spend all in one transaction. But maybe we will see. That's also a big class. That's also to discuss, I think, with future subscriber as a UX they would like to have, the limits they would be comfortable with. Like in the same way with a debit card, and you have a debit card, you have limits, at least in France, you have limits on it to say, I don't want to be able to spend more this amount per week or this kind of thing.
Yeah, or single transfer withdrawals, or single payments, etc.
And that also was configurable on Monolith Smart Wallet contract. So you could configure and change that your maximum amount per transaction is this, different parameters. So I think it's.
I mean, I know several banks, for example. Let's not name any here, but there are several of them that basically allow just what we were talking about. Do you want to pay this? Do you approve this pre-planned payment? And you just push a button on the app, and it's much nicer because you have so much better control. What if you forgot to cancel the subscription on PayPal? You can just cancel it by clicking reject it there. That's really a considerably better UX than I just want money taken from my wallet because it's got to be too careful with not going too far onto convenience. I mean, it takes me to pay all my bills at the end of the month, to check them and accept the payments of them. It takes me under a minute. Because I know what I'm supposed to be paying. Yes, that matches. Yes, it takes 5 seconds on the phone to check it. I mean, if we can match that, then we've come very far.
And that's the feedback I got from early Superfleet user, that he found that it was easier to, for the non-geeky that doesn't want or doesn't require to be paid per second, we accept to just be paid per month as usual. It was much safer and quicker to just accept at the end of the month the automation of paying at the end of the month than having to manage the solvency of the Superfleet stream that pay every second, but that need to keep solvent. So it's a matter of, at the end, I feel it's a matter of the consumer, or the end user who manage it. And it's by
This
practice.
really sounds like we've got some fairly solid consensus.
Yeah. Okay. And then we'll do a first implementation like this and see later on what's.
All right.
Yeah, like
I think if you market to some of the slightly more skeptical people, they'll be going to their banks and saying, "Hey, why aren't you doing this?"
Mhm.
Well, I think
Because I mean, it's a natural thing. Sure, you set up automated billing, but there could be stuff that's cancelled. Did you remember to stop the payments on that water bill when you moved from that apartment last month, etc.? You don't want to be paying somebody else's water bill for a few months and then all the trouble of having to get it back again.
yeah, that's a good point as well. But I think the it probably should remain like an option for users, and you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why the users need automate the approval process, make it super simple so that you can see exactly what's being paid. You click accept, deny at the end of the billing period or whatever period it is in the individual case, and that's it. And then we're there.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Great.
Okay.
Then it's settled.
Cool.
Thanks, guys. I'll leave you to it
All
to
right.
deploy the attestation service. Then, yeah. Thanks for
All
your
right.
great input.
Thanks, Flavius.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks for having us, man.
Okay. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Allora,
Should I share?
Yeah, Bertrand, if you want to start share your screen.
But I don't know if I should share. Let's see. If I share only the terminal, if I share only also a full screen with both documentation in the web browser and the terminal.
That's a good question. Well, we'll see.
Because here you can see that I've already have the EAS contract. EAS deployment was was a community deployment that used Quid2 to try to, we managed to deploy an every chain at the same address.
Maybe
Then
Bertrand,
we have, yeah.
Bertrand, maybe you can give us a little bit of context, like maybe what even are Ethereum attestation? What's the
Yeah, that's what I think. It's better if I share the whole screen.
Yep.
With both the terminal and the,
if you can, yes.
And the web browser. So let me share the full screen. Up, and up, and up, and then. So yeah, if you can switch now, it's sharing my screen. You see it, yeah. And you need to switch to it. Yeah, thanks. And now I'm opening a new window, and here you see it. And go to EAS. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's no, it's this is a website. Yeah, test.sh. So I've discovered this at East Barcelona. So a few weeks ago, and then I've practiced it with people there. What I've practiced is what is based on metaURL.org, which is very simple DAP or example DAP, where you attest that you met a wallet or an ENS name, but it's more usable when it's a ENS name because you can know this name much more easily than knowing the wallet. So know a lot of people. I have not met any people being able to remember the full address or the address of their friend. So that's it's easier with the ENS name. And then you can connect a wallet. You can put the ENS name of someone you met, and then you can use. It will call automatically this EAS contract to attest on chain that you have met this person, and the person will be able to confirm it or not. So.
And on the app, do you have to type the whole ENS name, or maybe you can there's a scanner, QR code scanner or something?
Yeah, there is also a QR code if you don't have any ENS.
Okay.
But this one also, that's why I wanted to switch to. So here you have the QR code.
Okay.
So if you want someone, if you don't want someone to type the ES name even, you can just propose to scan the QR code. It will automatically get the address of the ES name.
Okay, that's
then
better.
You can attest. Here, show my QR code is the same. And then you can see also the connection. And then you can see with the ENS name, but it's much easier to see Jules for .eth. So this way you can guess better who is behind the wallet.
So in this example, that's someone you met during the ETH Barcelona?
Yes, but and we tried it when it was on mainnet, but as it is on mainnet, I didn't want to confirm to not spend too much ETH on the mainnet.
Okay, but can you show maybe the full interface? Is it the interface itself? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
very simple. Very simple.
Maybe
interface.
you can show the attestation itself, like the one you have with
Yes, so we have an attestation browser, but maybe I have not seen there. If you can switch it to say, when I've tried it, it was on Sepolia, and the website was connected to Sepolia, but now they have switched this testnet on. So maybe if I could check. That's also why I would like to deploy my own version to be able to test it on Arthera, both for the contract and the UI.
No, because I mean, as far as I saw previously, like you can actually, sign an attestation kind of off chain, so you can kind of attest anything, and then you also can add the, let's say, timestamp thing, right? And right now it's only on Ethereum mainnet, so it's
it's already deployed on Sepolia, Arbitrum, and mainnet. But the app I've shown you, I've not seen it before. It was connected to Sepolia during ETH Barcelona.
Okay.
But at the end of ETH Barcelona, after it, now it's, as you see, it's connected only on Ethereum mainnet.
All right.
But the app is open source.
This kind of goes back to the dawn of crypto.
Absolutely.
Back when everything was a few hundred people in an IRC server on channel on Heinlein, because we had this whole complicated web of trust system with publishing PGP keys and authenticating with them and sharing them in the group. And
back then was it possible to sort of share your PGP key through the Bitcoin blockchain or something?
No, we would publish on different key servers, mainly Dutch, French, and Panamanian University key servers of all places. Okay. MIT also had a key server, but it was considered rather gauche to use that one. And I mean, it is cool because this is such a higher level of evolution. I mean, back then it was all text and authenticating in consoles and posting signatures.
So already support.
So here you can see all the chain where it's already deployed, and what is coming soon. And now you see that now it's on Optimism.
Okay.
And before it wasn't. Last time I checked, it wasn't on Optimism. Optimism was in the coming soon with Polygon, and now it's deployed on Optimism. And you see the difference between the mainnet and the testnet. The testnet are in gray, and the mainnet are not gray.
And so today, Bertrand, what's the sort of step-by-step plan to actually deploy on Arthera?
So to deploy first the two contracts.
Okay.
And then try to adapt material source code to be able to use this contract on Arthera. So to not
that's the UI, right? The MET-IRL is the UI, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like having it maybe on Vercel or some continuous deployment, and this way you could have a meta URL, and then later we can put it on the Arthera as an Arthera subdomain. So if you want to start your social graph connection on chain without having to spend on another EVM chain. Later, also, it could be a way to show the subscription feature by also enabling the subscription feature on this meta-URL UI,
yes,
like when calling the contract.
What you're saying is that ultimately, this attestation that you met someone in real life. And all these attestations that you met someone in real life kind of form kind of a social graph.
Like the web of trust, but the Web3 of trust.
Yeah. Web3 of trust. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah.
That's how he presented it, like a Web3 of trust.
And from a privacy standpoint, how does that work exactly?
Well, that really is up to the individual user and what name service they use and how well they manage their wallets.
Yeah, I don't see much user privacy here because that's also another part that later.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running with a VPN and you use specific wallets for specific tasks, you're still pretty private. But
it's on the role. It's the role of the user to manage the user privacy he wants. From my point of view, it's not.
If you ever do any OTC trading, this is an invaluable tool.
So,
definitely.
so if you want to stay private, then it's your task to stay private. Your task, and I mean, at least the tool you use should show you what will be public, what will be private. But in my opinion, when you use public blockchain, it's a public blockchain with public information. So even if it's pseudonymous, and for example, on EVM, I don't feel there is so much privacy because the wallets you use are linked together by the transaction, and if you to avoid that, you will need to do some OTC trading, so like in real life trading that doesn't show connection on chain, and for now I'm more about transparency than like building in public instead of trying to keep things private.
I mean, from the moment to me, I mean, from the moment you kind of use an ENS name,
then
you start to kind of go public somehow. And same for these attestations. Like if you can attest that I met you in real life. But yeah, if we publish that on chain, then it's kind of you kind of go public, and it that's
and then it's your choice. I mean, the choice of the user if they want to go public or not.
Yeah, exactly.
But
okay, great.
Yeah, but I mean, we've kind of got to have both. What it boils down to is, if you don't address reuse, you're still pretty private.
Yeah, if you do like the Bitcoin way of having a different address for different use case, but then you don't have as far as I know, we don't have this UTXO on Ethereum, so we are still keeping the same balance.
Still linkable, but it's still it's an option, and I think we're really doing users a disservice if we don't mention that it's there. Privacy is good, transparency is good. They can actually work together.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
that's it, really.
I mean, it's we should not be extremists in one way or the other. It's all about balance. So finding the sweet spot between the extremism. That's a philosophical part of the session. Don't be an extremist.
On some of the core principles like sovereignty of blockchain, I don't really think there's anything that's too extreme.
Okay. I mean, I was thinking more globally. We may always find some exception, but that's where.
Yeah, but I mean, I completely agree on the whole. But we've also got to be careful that we don't become too appeasing. But when we become too appeasing, you can look at the woke thing that happened in the EU and the US. That happened because sensible, rational people were too shy of conflict and were too appeasing. And we're all now paying the price for it.
Yeah, kind of.
So to make it straight
Yeah.
forward, so what I've done is going to the GitHub.
Mhm.
Then I've fork all these repositories.
All of them.
I think, yeah, at least to keep a trace.
Okay.
And GitHub in case they are not public anymore.
Right.
And now you see it's already cloned there.
Okay.
So for now, basically, it's more we will work on the EAS contract. Let's see EAS contract at least first,
Mhm.
then maybe the SDK, and then I guess we may need to adapt also the SDK, and then the material is we'll check if the material is using the SDK, but
All right.
I guess so. Let's see how far we can go. So EAS contract. Git remote NSV. You can see I've forked it in the W3HT, and the upstream is still there. So that's a good thing. I think that GitHub does with the GitHub client, that it defines the upstream. And I've seen it. It seems it doesn't define the upstream if you just git clone this origin address. This way, I can even synchronize the upstream with the origin without going on the GitHub UI.
Okay.
So yeah, and it takes a lot of time to do all the unit tests from what I remember, so I will not done it again, but I've managed to done it before. And so yeah, we can follow the documentation. So like if
Hey, like right now you can, is it like can you actually run the test for these contracts, or
yeah, I mean we can run the local test.
yeah, locally, I mean.
Yeah, locally. So here if you go, you see the deployment. And so their goal is that you don't need to know this address, because all the deployment artifacts should be visible. You should get them from the package. So like EAS package from Ethereum attestation service EAS contract, and then going to deployment.
Okay.
And that's why they don't want to use Quit 2, because they feel using the same address on different network is confusing for the user. Like,
Okay.
it's written here. Like I've seen it in the deploy, because there was one in the pull request. There was some discussion about it. No, I don't remember which one, but deploy and optimize currently. I haven't done an issue of here when you will deploy in Arthera test it. So we have the issue here open for 2 weeks.
Right. So
Nobody
does that mean there's an action required on their side or not?
For the SDK and for like doing some pull request to what we will do here is that we will also add the support of Arthera in the RDAT deployment. So like to come back to the code, it's an RDAT deployment. So here, so if you want to install the package, you install it with PNPM add, and then in the Ethereum attestation service group, use EAS contract. Then with the test, doing PNPM tests, and then deployment done with PNPM test deploy. I think, yeah, it has changed yesterday. So first I need to synchronize my fork with this, with the current branch, with the current repository. So there I need to go to W3. W3HC. Yeah, and here you see that we are 22 commits behind.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So here, the easiest way to synchronize the fork is to click here and then update branch.
But you want it, you want to do it from the CLI, right?
We could do it also from the CLI, but prefer to show the easiest way first.
Okay.
That's only 2 clicks. You click one like, and here one, two, and then it's automatically detected that this branch is not behind. So non-atomic. Enjoy your day.
That's nice of GitHub.
And now that I'm there, I need to go to Git pull. Yeah, and you see that.
Okay, there were some.
It has switched from what I've seen. It has switched from YARN to PNPM.
Oh, okay.
Because last time I've checked, yeah, you see it has deleted YARN lock, and it has put the PNPM lock to replace it.
Okay.
And if I remember well, I still have a PNPM. Maybe not, I guess, an old version, but let's see if it will work. So I can retry to do the PNPM test. Let's see. To make sure that after the git pull and the maybe also PNPM, first I may need to do PNPM install.
Bertrand, can I ask you to maybe put the CLI on the left and the browser on the right? Because
yes.
we don't really see, I think.
Because with the video isn't the.
Yes.
Okay.
If that's possible. But...
Yeah. Always.
Cool.
And then you can see what I'm typing.
Yep.
Okay, so PNPM. I do just PNPM, yeah. This is help, and then PNPM install. So it will install all dependency for a project. You can see that I have an update available of PNPM. So like, yeah, PNPM is, not many people have switched from NPM to YARN, and now people are switching from YARN to PNPM.
Yeah.
Which is more, like also faster, and also use a global cache.
Yeah, by the way, I wonder what's the best practice here, because you know, when you have a project, like let's say a hard hat project, what's the best practice? Should we use NPM or YARN or PNPM, or maybe allow the 3, or maybe, I don't know.
No,
choose one.
The worst case is that you mix all 3 together, and everything is
all right, so you just basically choose one and that's it.
Yeah, you have to.
Okay.
Like you will have warning. Yeah, I have seen that. I don't want to do finger pointing, but during ETHCC, no, it's Barcelona, and then I've discussed it during ETHCC. In a public repository where there is a log file for both Yarn and NPM. And that doesn't look professional to me, because then you have it creates confusion in the package manager.
Oh yeah.
Which one was used to log the version of the package. So
Yeah.
you should only, like you have seen in the Git log, when you install PNPM, you should remove your yarn lock. So here we delete the yarn lock.
Yep.
And we executed the PNPM lock.
Okay.
So both of them is to keep track of which package from package.json has been installed.
Okay.
So and this way, you can make sure that every developer or every user that clones this repository and run the same command gets the same result. If you don't have a locked file, then it can install any version that just comply with the package.json constraint, but may not be the same that the one that was installed by the project. So by using a log file, you make sure that you install exactly the same version, then like recommended version, or at least versions that work for this repository.
Okay, and so on this project we have PNPM, and there you also have kind of PNPM lock or something?
Yeah, PNPM lock here.
Okay.
And this one is more, could say more readable because it's in YAML instead of using the .lock of yarn.lock or package lock.
Okay.
And as you, it's also way, from what I know, it's way faster to install with PNPM than NPM or Yarn. Yarn was already, depending on the version, but historically, Yarn was faster to install install dependencies than NPM. And now PNPM is even faster than Yarn. Even for Yarn, you have two versions. You have the legacy version, which still most of people use, and you have the version 2 of Yarn.
Okay. And so now we probably can already run the unit test for these contracts.
Yeah, let's see. So like we see at least that everything
compiles correctly.
Everything works. Then we run PNPM compile. Then we run harden compile. And the harden compile successfully generated the typing.
Yeah.
And for type chain.
And that's a total of 41 Solidity contracts.
Yeah, Solidity file successfully. Compile 41. But there should be only 2 used in the protocol.
Okay.
But then, and at the end, deploying is about when you have configured everything correctly.
Yep.
Just to run PNPM deploy.
Right.
And so maybe to a main network.
Maybe
so
let's run the test and then configure then prepare for the deployment.
And then you can even test new deployment and the health of the network against the main network via test deploy. But then make sure to properly configure your terminal setting via R. So basically, we skip on already deploy and configure deployment script.
Okay.
So like what I've done is this. So test. I think it will say at the end, wow. And this time it doesn't work. Should revert when initialize with an empty schema registry. Should revert invalid child property. Revert with customer role. Test failed, see above for more details.
That's interesting. This one shouldn't fail, right? But there's only one thing we test. That's kind of weird, no?
No, it tests because it failed as the first one. It doesn't continue, I think.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and then if you look at the packages and yeah, but maybe because we need some .env.
Yes. Yes, it's quite possible that you actually need all these variables and values in place even before you do the unit test.
Yeah. So last time, at least, it was.
Just for those of us out there who are not sure what a unit test is, it's basically a self-test package where a lot of parameters have been written down, and you feed all of those parameters through the piece of software to see if they produce results within the expected parameters.
So in our case,
Exactly, because it's also used when you actually write let's say new smart contracts, like you
Oh, not just smart contracts, also
yes,
well, almost all object-oriented programming uses
yeah, test.
unit tests because they're essentially tools that, how do I explain it? Guarantee the proper functioning of one little part of the puzzle.
Yep. But I was saying, like, as you maybe you want, for instance, in a say smart contract development context, it's, as you said, it's the same with like other types of programs, but like when you add a simple, even if it's a very simple feature, we want to make sure that it behaves correctly, and we kind of test all sorts of scenarios where you have maybe an attacker that tries something, and we can already prove that an attacker just can't do something.
That's closer to fuzz testing
Yep.
than
Okay, yeah.
actual than unit testing. Unit testing is normally sort of a fairly defined set of
Yep.
parameters, but fuzz testing, which is probably, there is some fuzz testing in this package, I hope, as well, right, Bertrand?
At least maybe end-to-end testing, not sure about fuzzy testing, but that's why also we consider to switch from Ardat to Foundry, because Foundry has a fuzzy testing feature natively, which is not natively in Ardat. Maybe with some plugin, but
And by the way, by the way, just for information, this week I kind of provided a little hard hat example, sort of hard example of a hard hat project that integrates Arthera. So that's kind of available through the documentation that we have.
and build.
And talking about Foundry, I think we'll get to that in the coming weeks as well.
So you can show Julien where is it? It's in
So it's
using Ardat.
hard hat, using hard hat, and there, yeah, you have a little.
Ardat template. You can clone or fork
Yep.
this repository.
Yep.
Your Arthera can be integrated in an Ardat project. It's in TypeScript. You can simply use this
So it's a
template
very basic configuration, kind of that's including Arthera sort of out of the box.
yeah, and that's what we should do for EAS to write this network. So if I go there, that's okay. Arthera, Ardat, example, TypeScript. And by the way, also, like we have open source, the documentation. So now if you find a typo, or if you want to suggest
That's right.
something, you can do it directly on the GitHub of Arthera.
Yep. Feel free to directly, you can add an issue and eventually contribute directly. There's
As you have done.
some guidelines for that in the repo.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Good time to accept the invitation. To accept my invitation to contribute to it. That's I'm now available to maintain also access. And here you will see the actual contributor. Okay, so let's going back to the to show what is run when we start PNPN test. It's running harden test, and this harden test go to the package JSON. That's how we see that harden test, and the harden test runs the file into the test folder. And in the test folder, the first file is EAS in TypeScript. And so that's how we see that it starts with before, like here, we start the describe, so EAS. So that's the EAS we see there. And then the construction we see there, it's because we are entering the describe construction. And then we see it should revert when it's live with an empty schema registry. And so it tried to deploy EAS, and but with zero address as a schema registry, so empty schema registry, and it expects to be reverted with custom error, saying EAS invalid registry. But as it doesn't get invalid, so it gets the error invalid child property reverted with custom error. So it doesn't like this reverted with custom error. Invalid child property. So it doesn't like this function, at least by this function. I like something, and so that's why he failed and doesn't go further. And so let's do it. Let's do it the easy way. Oops.
Yeah, that's what I was about to suggest.
Read your mind.
Just comment it. Yeah, comment all your problems, and your life is like better.
Yeah, but that's not the. I mean, that's a short-term solution.
David, you want to say something?
Long-term solution.
David?
There is a Danish saying. There is an old Danish proverb where you talk about it's like peeing your pants to keep warm in the blizzard.
Okay. Okay, nice one.
And you see, that was not a solution.
Yeah.
Because
that's the other thing that happens if you just comment it out.
Yeah, you could just go to the next error. But at least it shows that should be properly initialized worked. So we have at least one passing. But anytime we try to attest.
I'll never forget when we went from Ubuntu 14 to 16 and everything broke.
Yeah.
And it was, and everything was like really zen and let the errors guide you.
I mean, that's one problem we have. That's a problem we have in almost any development, environment. But let's say even more specifically in Web3, stuff. Like it's kind of rare to have something that's actually stable. And so that can be, that can be really tricky when you discover all this as a, junior developer, including myself. It's, you have to,
Yeah. Why does it work on Ubuntu 20, but it doesn't work on Ubuntu 22?
Or the reverse. Like Flavius was saying, it works for me on my Ubuntu 22, so I expect all Ubuntu 20 users to upgrade to Ubuntu 22, and it will work for them too.
Yeah, that's not always realistic, as it'll break other things.
Yeah, that's why I feel having Docker container can also help, at least on the functional side, not much, but not always on the security side also.
Docker is a mixed blessing, but yeah, it does make a lot of things so much easier. And to be fair to them, all the real major security issues were a couple of years back. I think the latest one that had really nasty exploits on it were, I believe, Google Kubernetes deployments.
Yeah, because then you have the level up. Raising the bar by switching to just the Docker usage to Kubernetes usage.
Yeah, so it basically gets worse and worse as as it get more complex.
Yeah, that's you're adding the layer, stacking the layer.
Yep. So Bertrand, we have one test passing.
Yeah, but just one. Maybe I should not have. Maybe I can do a Git. With revert, but that would not really. But last time I've checked, the test were all the tests was passed without any errors.
That may be a good idea.
No, but maybe we should test to deploy locally. Maybe the test doesn't work anymore the same way.
Maybe it's an issue with the test themselves. And if you try to, or maybe if you try to deploy kind of directly, so to speak, which is like not recommended and not safe.
No, but I can try to deploy locally, maybe. Let's see. So here you see, because it's using harden deploy.
Yep.
You keep a trace of all deployments there. So you have Arbitrum1, base girly, so still a testnet of base, and Upstack, mainnet, Optimism girly, Sepolia, and Tenderly for the fork. If you want to do a fork, you can deploy on Tenderly. Or maybe it's because of a mess in the non-modules. Let's see how fast. Let's see how fast npm pnpm is faster than npm. Maybe there is even a clean, clean. No, not yarn anymore. pnpm. Okay. It removed also the non-modules? No.
Yes, that's a good idea. So you just basically remove all the modules and install again.
Yeah.
And see what happens.
Because we have even a foundry here also.
Oh. Okay.
So like that, clean, prepare, and pnpm. recompile and prepare. Et yeah, PNPM install.
Yes.
Oh, let's see how fast you will see it. Should be faster than. And yeah, it's already finished.
Okay.
Because it uses a global cache instead of a local cache.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
Global by global cache, I mean the cache at the user space, and not the cache specific to the project.
Yep.
And this way, if you have many projects using the same JavaScript component, you don't have to store them many times on your hard drive. They are just linked from the user global cache. And so you see, it was done in only 17 minutes. Because I've got everything already in my, like you see, my virtual store. Like the content addressable store is that Humbert local share PNPM store v3. And then my virtual store is that node-module.pnpm.
Okay.
And so you got all the npm package from the PNPM store. That's why the node-modules was much faster to. And here you see that all this is a symbolic link. So all the package. So it keeps the traditional node-modules directory tree, but then it's just symbolic link to the store.
Okay, that's kind of good to know. Probably on my sort of next hard hat project, I would probably try to use PNPM instead of just npm. But yeah.
So and then yes, even the PNPM modules. Yeah, let's see. And then it's I think even there you will see. So let's retry, but npm test. But
that's much better, Bertrand.
Yeah, so that was my fault.
I didn't want to say that, but
mea culpa, as they say in Latin.
No, because the little mistake here was that you should have PNPM install right after the git pull, right?
PNPM, yes.
Okay.
So it was like the mess you can have by mixing PNPM and Yarn.
Yeah. Okay. So as we can see, we have the whole test running.
Not the whole. I've commented still one.
Which one?
I've commented one.
Okay.
Now I'm uncommenting it.
Okay.
That's more about to check if, like, if you put an error, kind of not fuzzy testing, but more error testing. That when you expect something to fail, it's good to check that it fail as expected.
Right. Wow, that's a lot of tests.
Yeah, that's how you see I've not seen this a lot of time, but you have a test coverage of 100% for every file.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a standard a lot of other projects could learn a lot from, because this is
That's
how you
That's right.
deliver stuff that doesn't get
Yeah. I agree 100%.
hit by an asshat.
And to reduce the test coverage of the full, and that's what we do. So here you can see that the tests, apart from the one I've commented, but now this come uncommented. Like we can still try the probably configure. Let's try maybe to check, because I feel we should not trust this 100%. That could be just copy written manually. So let's verify it by yourself.
Yes, please. Okay.
So here is running the harden node locally. And he's running all the.
Did you have to do a hard hat node before that, or no?
No, I've just done copy and paste.
Okay.
I try to keep it simple, and some say stupid.
Yeah, but it's the only way it works.
Yeah.
No, that I try to do documentation like proof. Like if I just apply stupidly the documentation, will it work or not? If the documentation doesn't work when I apply it stupidly, I feel it's not a good enough documentation. And that's why I care about open source documentation, because this way I can try to make it work. So then find the way to make it work, and then contribute it back to the community.
Yeah, definitely.
To help the next one to not have this error. And
yeah, the whole idea is always to kind of be, let's say, as clean as possible, so that eventual external contributors can also join. If the basic tests already fail and is inconsistent with the docs, then a potential external contributor would maybe not join, and that's and that would be a shame. So
yeah, so but then it's difficult. I guess with a big project, difficult to reach the 100% coverage.
Yep.
I feel this argument works when you have not started with test, and that you add the test at the end because someone else told you to add the test. If you started from the beginning with test coverage, it's more a matter of priorities. Do you want to keep this 100% test coverage or not?
That's right.
Yeah, and you have to keep up with the testing structure at the same time as other commits are made.
Exactly.
Yeah. So here you can see that there is some where there is not 100% anymore. But for the statements, you have 100% always. For the function, you have 100% always. And then for the branch and lines, there is only this file where there is 3 uncovered lines. which brings the percentage to 95, which still, I guess, acceptable. But here the percent of the branch is only 70%. So I guess in the last, maybe in some of the newest PR, someone has not been so reluctant about the coverage, and say, it's urgent to push it.
Mhm.
We need to make it work, and we don't care so much about the test.
Who said that in the past, Bertrand?
No finger pointing. He said.
I'm going to say 2 words. One with 3 letters, and then another one with 4 letters.
It's,
And ETC came out the other side.
BTC is in 3 words. Is it in 3 letters?
ETC came out the other side.
ETC came out the other side. No, that's not my.
Yeah, I
ETC
didn't
is 3 letters, but
I didn't get it either.
Okay. What event created Ethereum Classic?
it is ZDAO. 3 letters and 4
Oh,
letters.
DAO.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip. Or for the hint. Yeah, so that's still pretty, I feel that's still pretty good to have this 100%. And then we could do a git blame on this line to see who has added this line and not covered them by a test.
But back then, just talking quickly about the DAO attack. Do you think it was? I don't think it was a lack of testing. Maybe the whole community were back then maybe not too aware of this kind of attacks, including that re-entrancy attack. Yeah.
If you don't expect people to come up with new things,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to get burned.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody expected the Java overflow on Bitcoin.
Yep.
But after that, they did start expecting overflows. They threw Java out the window and moved to C++.
Mm-hmm. You mean the Bitcoin core team was kind of inspired by this event?
Yeah, it got a lot of people building. It got a lot more people engaged in what was going on.
Interesting.
And it goes to show how many really smart people were initially just watching on the sidelines, and because of that event made the decision to hop in, get their feet wet, and start contributing.
All right. I didn't know that.
It's ancient history.
Yeah. This was 2016, right?
No, this was 2010.
Oh, okay. You were okay. Yeah, okay. I was talking about the DAO attack, but okay.
No.
Some other event within like the Bitcoin.
No. The DAO hack was 2016, I think.
Yeah.
But then, it's good to have people like OG people here. Even more than OG.
I mean, David was even like in the space even before me. Obviously, that's 10 years of crypto for me, but
David, a long time. Long time, but it's been good fun.
Oh yeah.
But then, so here what I do is profiling to show you also what you can do with harden. So first we have seen the test, then we have seen the coverage of the test. So we did the test coverage, and now we see the profiling the gas cost of all the user focus flows.
Okay.
And
so in addition to the test, we also get sort of gas, not estimation, but
estimation. Well, no, it's not really estimation because you have deployed on harden.
yeah. So it's not a gas estimation. It's
it's
it gives
the
you
estimation of
the
harden.
Weighting factor or something like that?
It's also to be able to see, to be able to compare if you change, like for example, the optimization, if you enable or disable the optimization, if you change the runs of the optimization, and also depends on the block limit, if it fits the block limit or not. And then you are here for the methods and for the deployment. So like here you see that to be able to deploy test EAS, you need more than 13% of a block to deploy it.
which is quite a lot.
Yeah, and here because you have the gas cost here. But from what I remember, yeah, we may have to deploy all of this. Not so sure because here it's for test, so I guess we will maybe not deploy the test in. Here, let's see what's the column here. The mean and max. Yeah, so you can see that even with the optimizer enabled, you have a mean, a max, and an average. So it's not always.
Sure.
It's not always the same number.
And if I'm not mistaken, the optimizer should be kind of true, like in all your projects, right?
Yeah, I mean, usually you enable the optimizer, but you could disable it if you don't want your user to pay less and you want to pay less. It could depend. Sometimes the optimizer, it will optimize the size of the code, but usually the optimizer is more to optimize the gas cost after deployment. So with the optimizer enabled, from what I understood, if you enable the optimizer, it will cost you more to deploy because it will take more gas to deploy. But then it will, for the number of runs, when you enable the optimizer, you have also to enter or to select a number of runs, and it will be optimized for this number of runs. Right. And the bigger run you choose, the bigger will be also the bytecode to deploy, so the more expensive it will be. But then, for this number of runs, the execution of the transaction will cost less. Right. So that's so the deployer pay more for the user to pay less.
Yeah, which is obviously better.
Depending from the point of view.
I mean, we're kind of supposed to,
that will encourage usage.
Yes.
And I mean, then if you're on one of the high fee chains, it's the difference between horrendous and I can't do this.
Yes. And we also can, it's going to be interesting because, if we add that subscription kind of component to your contract and to make it kind of free, or almost free for your users. That's also going to be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, the impact on gas costs.
Yep.
For deployment, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I will take more later. I could take more time also to understand more deeply how the gas cost is estimated.
Yeah.
Because from what I've seen, like here you can see that it's not static.
Mm-hmm.
And so like this is the average on 1 million runs.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can see on 1 million runs, it can move pretty much from 71 here
Mm-hmm.
to 100 to nearly the double.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we have also the average here to see the average part. And then you see that how many calls was made by this method of this contract. Just to show, for us, what is more interesting in the deployment is how many gas really spend for the deployment. So now, what's the remaining part is deploying with a fork. But maybe, and the framework was inspired and adopted from the Bancor V3. And I think that we have the same kind of the coverage. Guess, test coverage. You can see it's still around the 100 or so there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, that was a long time, but maybe no any release yet. But see, that's pretty good. And,
It's interesting. It's kind of interesting because if let's assume an application deploys to Arthera using that subscription model at at application level, you really want to have all this optimized because you as an application will pay for your users, right? If I'm not mistaken.
could you repeat? I was not following it.
If you deploy your application on Arthera to Arthera, and you subscribe as an application, and you would select one of the tiers available, right? So maybe let's say you select the tier 1 with only a few usage because you basically just launch, so you don't need a super you don't expect a super high volume. Then you are like all the gas fees will be kind of included in that subscription, right? And your users will, in every case, your users just don't pay sort of any gas fees. But if you're sort of not optimized enough, then you might switch to tier 2, something like that.
I guess it's some people could say it's about the cost of engineer time. So
Yes.
would it cost less to just pay for the transaction cost than trying to optimize, to profile and optimize the gas cost of the transaction?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because in the short term, it will cost less to pay for the transaction cost, even if they are not optimized. But I agree that in the long term, it would help to optimize the profiling.
Yeah,
but to optimize-
absolutely.
And then,
Otherwise, you can't sustain the growth.
exactly. Yeah, but that's also the why they apply the fake it until you make it. Like, if you don't fix it until it's broken. It's say if it's not broken, don't fix it. That's what people told me also. But then it's about the reasoning or the criteria, how you define if it's broken or not. Because not all people agree about what is broken. I could say that our current economy is broken, but not every people agree on that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Our gas fee model is broken, maybe. That's so deploy, and I was thinking like let's check what does a test deploy.
Yes. I don't know if you guys have a bit more time, but we're already, I think, close to 2 hours. So let's try the deployment. But I guess you're gonna need all the .env values.
I think we should have the
in place.
Yeah, I can even do that instead of switching that.
Yep.
Doing that always with the terminal here. Ethereum provider URL. Yeah, I guess we'll have to add more. But here we have the networks, and we could add one more network for Arthera. And I think that would be it to make it like we can use, as you can see, it's not ordered by chain ID. So I don't see, if I want to be picky, I would say I don't understand really how is it ordered. Maybe because Arthera mainnet, Arbitrum 1, no, Optimism, Sepolia, no. So seems people doesn't care about the order. So why going to this? We can go back to there using RDAT. And but we will keep this schema, this template. So
just add it in the end, right?
Yeah, exactly. But with I don't know if I add it in the end or if I, so check. Yeah, it's a magic
yes.
shortcut.
So
without touching without touching the clipboard. So I've not even done a copy paste. And then here I would say Arthera. Arthera test. Let's say
Arthera testnet, yeah.
Testnet.
Yeah.
Because it's very on Sepolia, they don't even, because they know about Sepolia and Optimism girly, face girly. Yeah. Okay. And now does not exist, and quick fix.
No.
Bam.
Really?
Yeah. Even in another file.
Is it already added in another file?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, it's there, indeed. Okay.
And then quick fix. Fix this cross problem. Fix all auto-fixable problem.
Okay.
And voila.
Okay. Okay, nice.
So here we have the deployment network Arthera testnet.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to change the chain ID. Let's do it this way to make it more visible. So the chain ID is there. Save deployment true, live true. And there is something about saying if it's testnet or not. Account.
What about the endpoint URL?
Limited contract size, save deployment live. Yeah, I need to change the, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Ethereum always. And so I would say Arthera. I don't have the magic shortcut that capitalize everything. So I will do it the easy way. Because the easy way is the legacy way.
Are you sure we need to keep the Ethereum in the beginning? Yeah.
Because every other use Ethereum.
All right.
So I try to be not compliant, but
Oh, you're right. You're right. We stay consistent with the existing.
Consistent,
ways.
yeah. I mean, even too much picky on the consistency. And then quick fix.
Come on.
No, not this time, because here we want to define it.
Mm-hmm.
So here I copy that and I will define it. So it will run Arthera testnet order URL.
Yes,
And
please.
we will use it from here, URL. And I see I made a mistake because the chain ID I need to use is this one. And not this one.
Yes. No.
Because here it's Arthera local and I need to use Arthera testnet.
Oh, yes.
So could be confusing. We may have got to have this problem also. Like people, you're looking at the first chain and not at the second one, not looking at the name.
That's a good point. The Arthera
because here it's not even Arthera local, it's just that.
Yes. Yes.
And even it will not run at this port number.
Yeah.
We need to check what is this Arthera local means.
I agree. I can fix that. And we would just keep the Arthera testnet in the hard hat config file.
Yeah, I think would be less confusing.
Yeah.
Okay. And
I mean, I must say, for someone who's not used to working with Solidity, this can be very confusing.
Yep. No, I agree.
Okay, so provider URL. So yeah.
Because of course, like if you kind of use if there's one single little mistake in the sort of network configuration, then you get some weird errors and it can get confusing very quickly. So.
And so where is and then yeah, cannot find name. Did you mean? But they are still. It still shows the error.
What's your error here?
The same. It has not updated the error. Because I have not finished to fix. There is the interface. But now I need to provide it there also.
Exactly, yes.
And, this, and this. And no error anymore.
Good.
And because it's public, I feel I can already put it in the.
Maybe let's add it in the. in the .env file.
Ah, yeah, profile, env option égale process env.
Process env as env options.
Ah, but that's the for the default value.
Okay.
I mean, we have a public one, so at least
Yep.
you
Go
use
for
it as a public one, as a default one.
Sure.
Let's see if it will work. Okay. And provide. Okay. And that's so you see how it started with mainnet and then multi-chain, because Ethereum provider URL, or maybe just a naming. Yeah, that's Ethereum is the mainnet. Okay, so I think now we are good to try. No, now we need also an account. It doesn't. It doesn't talk about the account. Name account equal name account. Ah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So now you will need an account also. So the test name account. ETH whale. Who is an ETH whale here? Like Optimus Girly deployment network address. Does that exist? Ah, property only does a type of deployment network. So here's the deployer ledger. Okay. So it will get also the deployer from the env. Yeah, that's what we got in the template. But so here we need to do the same with Arthera. That const address string deployment network dot Arthera testnet address, and then const test name account. Here we have mainnet optimism simple here. Optimus Girly, name account deployer. What is this deployer? Okay, mainnet. Arbitrum optimism, yeah. Yes, so let's follow. We need to follow the logic also. Let's see, maybe first at the. So here we have Arthera testnet. Every time we see base curly, so here we added it after base curly. So every time we see base curly, we could add it Arthera testnet also. Like maybe our that should be at the end and not at.
That's okay. That's okay.
But yes, for now that's okay, as you say. I was just curious to see what in the env template. So here also we need to add to the env template our variable.
Exactly.
No, yeah. And yeah, I think the same here now that we can.
Yes.
Maybe this way we can remove it from there. To apply, don't repeat yourself.
right.
So we have the and we have the deployer here.
Mm-hmm. Deployer should it be a private key here?
Yeah, that's what I guess, but let's verify.
Yeah.
So that's a string. Okay, and by default, each ledger with dot 0.
Mm-hmm.
Deployer and deployer string. So, and then this deployer is used then. Yeah, and name account. It's but name account and test name account. That's why I don't see where. Yeah, that's the way. You imagine having this amount of ether on mainnet? No? And even on poly? No. Yeah, that's open. But I don't know where with this whale is needed. That's a contract, that's why. Because that's from the beacon contract.
Mm-hmm.
It has more than 27 million of ETH into it. That's why he merits the ETH whale naming.
Okay.
Okay, so but I think we just need to put the deployer into test name account. In deployer, I mean in deployer, so in name account deployer. And
Named accounts.
we want to have curly where we will with a parameter use a deployment. Yeah, that's another way to merge the different deployer. And then here, because we use harden deploy, and that deploy depends on name account. And then when we do some deployment tasks, so all of these are deployment tasks.
So maybe you want okay. So do we need to add in the ETH whale? Is that?
Yeah, no, not ETH whale, but we need to do to add the deployer to the name account, because then you see you go quit. But here it's about quitting wallets. Yeah, but it's only for test helper. So when we will deploy. Here, so the first task is 001. He will get deployer from get name account.
Okay.
So you'll get the deployer from, and then from having this deployer, the deploy function on that will be to run the deploy function from the deployer account.
Okay. So basically to give, is it like to give some ETH to the deployer?
Not to give, but to say from where should be deployed the transaction.
Okay.
But I don't remember if it's if it's private key, if it should be the private key or just the public key.
Maybe that's a way to avoid kind of playing around with private keys and send some funds to the deployer.
I think that should be because if you don't have the private key, you cannot do anything.
Exactly.
So I think we should put a private key that we have already put public already.
Yes.
At least disclosed in public, so which doesn't make it a private, so much private key anymore. like the private IPFS network of request network, which is made public in the documentation, so it's not so private anymore.
Is it at least is it possible? Is it possible for us to add like a simple private key and that's it, like without going in this process? Because I feel like we would need to deploy another contract even before deploying, right?
Yeah, I was looking. No, that's not. I was just looking how works the get name account function here, and
Okay.
so the get name account, it expects the name as a string, because it look at the index of a name as a string and then gets the address, and that's why here. No, not here, but the type extension. I've already closed it. Yeah, I already closed it because I've not. So here, when we look at the name account, it's using the deployer name. So here we have the deployer name, and then in the deployer, we have the name of the network, and then will be a string for the private key to use in
Okay.
the deployer, from what I remember. But
Okay, so you can so maybe you can basically paste the private key there
yeah,
and then try to deploy, right?
please make sure to properly test coverage. It's not please note that you can also import. No, that's not. And what is explained here? So here you have the dev. Here it's called the dev addresses. But you see the same with Tenderly fork ID, Tenderly project, Tenderly username, Tenderly access key, Tenderly test project, and project, Sentry DSN, API key, and dev address. No, but if it's address would mean like a public address. And yeah, but we got nearly the same function. Gas price, nightly. And at the end, configure that user, chain ID, URL, gas price. For some, it put gas price. Chain ID, URL, say deployment live. Deploy script. And then name account. The same. I think we have this. So it's about the option for that deploy. And what we've seen here is that where is the deployer coming from? Yeah. It's coming from name account. In data, update name account. Token override, pull token, name account. Test name account. Token name account. Name account. Ledger. No, that seems a public address here, no? Let's see, deployer P2. Actually, it's not so. not so easy. Yeah, so that's the public address. And then we need to see where we put the private key of this deployer. So at least finish that. And then maybe I will figure it out later. That's not even enough because here we need to close that.
I'm really sorry, guys. It's 1:15 in the morning here. I'm starting to nod off.
Yeah, okay. It was nice to see you.
Yeah, but it was nice. It was a good discussion earlier.
Yeah. Thanks for your historical perspective.
It's funny how much alike we actually all think, but we just express it slightly differently.
Yeah. That's good to have this kind of discussions.
I think we might want to wrap it up as well, Bertrand.
Yeah. Because I feel it will not work.
Yes. Let's just wrap it up. Guys, thank you so much for your time. I guess the next build in public session will be on Thursday, and it probably will be like it will be about like try to actually deploy these contracts to Arthera testnet, so we can call it like a mini series, right? And so next Thursday will be the part 2.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got a session coming up as well about additional server hardening you can do if you're running nodes, either validator or RPC nodes.
Yep. I heard some great news from the guys sort of putting everything together for the
just got to keep it simple.
Yep. Right.
Yeah. So I think I will push.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
This is awesome so far. I really learned a lot. Is that visual? Are you quick? One last question, Bertrand, before we go. Are you running Visual Studio on Linux, or are you pulling in a screen from a Windows machine?
No, it's I have a XPS 13 developer edition that is pre-installed in Ubuntu and even supported officially by Dell. So.
Oh boy. Okay.
I'm running it the full Linux way.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's good.
And but also like to not need anything locally on your computer. That's why also I will push more to get a Gitpod installed, so we can provide Gitpod classes based on Gitpod web developer environment. This way you can do everything from the web browser, even the VS Code web, having all the tools that you run in Kubernetes pod. And for now, GitHub Workspace does the same for 2,000 minutes for free per month. So that's why we started with Gitpod first, and then we switched to GitHub Workspaces because for now all the repository we work on are on GitHub. So on GitHub is much more integrated with Workspace. And so you have not excuse about I've not VS Code Web installed on my computer. I have not Git. I have not Node. I have not all this kind of thing. And I say you just need a web browser, not more.
You need a netbook and an internet cafe, and that's it.
Yeah, and maybe you need a brain also.
No, that's not a requirement.
No.
Web3 development, Control V, Control C, here we go.
That easy? Wow.
Yeah,
All right.
now,
All right.
if you don't have a physical brain, you can have an artificial brain.
Yeah. Yeah. Chat GPT assist.
Oh, come on.
Can we get that in the web version?
That could be another topic for the building public is how to use the AI to think for you if you cannot think anymore.
Sure. Okay, let's just end the stream right now.